Okay, hello students. As you know that our mains examination of UPSC Civil Service Examination 2025 is recently conducted, and in the paper 3, GS paper 3, ecology and environment questions they are asked. So most of the questions are directly asked from our class notes. So whatever we have studied, they are directly asked in this paper. Those who studied last year, they know it very well. So see the questions here. What are asked from ecology, environment, and disaster management part? See, the first one question is here. What is carbon capture, utilization, and storage? We have discussed it in very detail in our classes. See, look at the words carbon capture, utilization, and storage, CCUS. So, why this question is asked? First, you should have a insight into that. Why that is asked? Because last year in 2025, 2024, uh, uh, the CCUS, this uh, scheme, this project was started in our Gujarat part, where we have oil fields. So there, this scheme was implemented on the technology demonstration basis. That's why this question is raised, and moreover, it is one of the hot topic as well. The carbon capture, the carbon sinks. So obviously, we can expect the questions are framed from this part. So look at the word here: carbon capture, utilization, storage. So carbon capture, it means to capture the carbon dioxide or the greenhouse gases in our artificially make carbon sinks, or it could be in the naturally carbon reservoirs as well. Then utilization, storage. So storage does mean store that carbon sinks temporarily or permanently into our carbon sinks. So greenhouse gases, they are sequestrated and then absorbed into the carbon sinks, either temporarily or permanently, that is storage. And one more step ahead is the utilization. So what does it mean? As we have trapped the greenhouse gases, they can be used for making our fossil fuels again, and we can reuse these fossil fuels for long run. So this is what the technological part over here is. We are now one more step ahead, where we are even using the carbon that we have artificially stored in our carbon sinks. So this is what the meaning of CCUS. So in the introduction part, the this introduction has to be required. That has to be mentioned properly. It is written clearly. Uh, Store them in geological formations like deep saline aquifers, like depleted oil gas and gas fields, like we have our Bombay High gas fields, Ankleshwar gas fields. So there at a deep bottom, we can take that carbon and store it over there. And then further, we have utilized them for enhancing our oil recovery, because as carbon gets stored over there, we can expect some more hydrocarbons will come, and we can expect fossil fuels get replenished. This is the meaning of it. That has to be written in introduction part. Then, as per the need of the question, what is the potential role of CCUS in tackling climate change? This is the second part of it. Means if this technology is enhanced further, what would be its role in the climate? So definitely it has multiple roles into the climate. So roles are one thing. Think in this way, one thing, it will reduce the greenhouse gases from atmosphere. So it has the potential to arrest the global warming, right? So that is one part. So as per the IPCC report, these facts you should include into your answers. They enhance the quality of your answers. Like as per IPCC report of 2022, this would contribute up to 15% cumulative emission reduction by 2050, right? So as there is a need to achieve the carbon neutrality, so we have the goals of achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. Okay, like one is Kunming Montreal Protocol. You must have studied it when the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity (UNCVD) is discussed. So this is Montreal Kunming protocol that has make this target to achieve the net neutrality by 2050. So it will be helpful. 15% cumulative reduction will be there by this technology or by this method, right? So that is definitely one of the benefit of it, or one of the ecological advantage of it. Second thing, dear, as we have stored it, there is a chance of its utilization in the future. So fossil fuels will be replenished, and definitely we can use them as energy source for longer run. So this is a economic benefit of this way. So we can enhance the potential of our fossil fuels for the future purpose. So this is economic side of it. Similarly, third is the energy side of it. As we are in a position to reutilize that fossil fuels, so definitely we can fulfill the energy demand, growing energy demand of our country, right? So it has a benefits towards energy security side as well, right? Moreover, these hydrocarbons, we can convert this fossil fuel energy into the bio energy or the bio gases, so they can be converted. So again, further, more clean gases can be produced, more clean energy can be produced. So these are some direct uh, advantage of this one or contribution of this one. Moreover, we can write it can create more jobs for the future, because technology is required. For that state of art technology, we have to create some more manufacturing, we have to create more jobs to enhance the manufacturing sector over here. So that is also the one of the roles of it. Moreover, our some hard to abate sectors like steel and cement, hard to abate sectors means which we cannot undermine, which we cannot stop in a short run, they will continue to work, like cement production. So we cannot expect that we can substitute cement production from other one in a near future. So we will continue to produce the cement. So in these sectors also it will be very helpful. Okay, so Indian context is written here over here. So these points or some factual things you can use into your answer, like India is a third largest CO2 emitter. So definitely it is very useful for India. India has a uh, target of achieving net carbon neutrality by 2070. It is our target under nationally determined contributions of Paris Agreement. This is also question. We will discuss it all in the coming questions. So, like I have told you that in even oil field of the Gujarat, this CCUS project has started on a technology demonstration basis. That's why this question is asked. Okay, dear. Now come to the next question. The word intrusion in the coastal aquifers is a major concern in India. So this is one part of the question. Second, what are the causes of the seawater intrusion and the remedial measures to combat this hazard? So dear, as this question is revolving around the seawater intrusion and hazard, so a best way to start this question is start introduction in a such a way which coupled this seawater intrusion issue with the hazard. So directly you can start in this way. Seawater intrusion means when saline seawater comes over the land, it create hazard like situations for the coastal areas. Such type of introduction should be required. Moreover, you can connect it with some recent past events which can enhance the quality of your introduction. So by that way you can start your answer. So that is a very simple issue. When seawater comes over land, like at a time of high tide, at a time of storm surge, when seawater is thrown over the land, seawater get placed over the land for some time. Now what are these aquifers? You should know inside of a soil there are the pore spaces. So these are the aquifers where water goes and get accumulate. We called it as a porosity property of the soil, the water holding property of the soil. So if the seawater comes and get accumulate over the land, we can expect that slowly that seawater percolates below, infiltrate below and get accumulated into the pore spaces. And once the water get evaporated or once the water comes up by the capillary action, salt is left behind in these pore spaces. So salinity of soil get increased up. This is a major challenge that we are facing in the Kerala region. Dear Ray, Kolar, Chopan, these are the excessive calcium rich soils of the Kerala, and the seawater intrusion is one of the cause for that. So this is the first part of it. What are the concerns of this seawater intrusion into coastal areas? So concerns are, or causes of seawater intrusion, you can start anyway. The concerns are, once our seawater intruded, our soil became saline. Okay. Now this saline soil is not suitable for the cultivation of many crops. So it definitely affects the agriculture productivity in our coastal areas. Secondly, the salt, it make a one layer over the surface. We called it as a salt pan. So once that layer has developed over the surface, it choke the pore spaces. So as it choke the pore spaces, what happen now? The water is not able to go down. So soil became non-permeable. Non-permeable means which don't have a tendency to pass the water. So water get accumulated over surface. It is called as water logging. So it is another concern of the salt intrusion into the aquifers. Soil in a long run will become non-permeable, non-porous. So it will hold the water. So if water will be hold, it is again a problem for the soil. Now we cannot take crops like millets, nutrition rich pulses, which require some dry conditions to grow. Now farmer is compelled to grow paddy, jute again and again, because these crops can survive in a water standing field. Okay. Same is a problem with the farmers of the Punjab and northern Haryana. After green revolution, due to excessive utilization of urea, in the urea, NPK is there. The K in potassium. Potassium react with chloride iron to form the potassium chloride salt. That salt form a layer over the surface. So that salt choke the pore spaces. Now water does not go down. Soil became highly waterlogged soil. So farmers of Punjab and northern Haryana are actually facing this challenge. During monsoon season, rainy season, their field is flooded with the water. So they are bound, compelled to grow paddy only. It affects the nutritional security, because nutritional security comes through the cultivation of crops, cultivation of leguminous crops, pulses, right? So that affect the nutritional security as well. It is one of the major challenge or major concern for the India, isn't it? Okay, so dear, now see what are the causes. Come to the second portion, causes of this intrusion. Causes are multiple. Causes can be man-made, causes can be natural. So it is suggested that you should structureize your answer. Like in the heading, you should write causes of the seawater. Then go. Like in this answer, the points are written into the points way, right? So you can structureize as like this way: natural cause, man-made cause. So first come to the natural cause of the seawater intrusion. Natural causes are like tsunamis. So if tsunami wave will come, the sea waves, very high sea waves, they collapse. We called it as a wave break. They collapse when they reaches to the sea. So this collapse creates a strong swash. So a lot of water is thrown towards the landward side. So this tsunami throws the saline water of the sea towards the land. Obviously, as saline water is on the land, we can expect that salt intrusion will take place in the aquifers of the soil. So this is one of the natural cause. Second, this way, dear, we can expect that tropical cyclones, which causes storm surge. In tropical cyclone, when water rotates, the middle part of that spiral is a eye where sea level goes down. But in that spiral, the southward part of the central, in the periphery of central, the sea water has raised up. So we called it as an eye wall actually, a cloudy layer above it. So by circulating as this tropical cyclone approaches towards land, so this outer side once hit the land, there is a high sea level, that water is thrown towards the land. Okay. So dear, during the cyclones also storm surge leads to the throwing of this water over the land. This is also a natural cause. Similarly, tides are the other cause. So at a time of a high tide situation, our intertidal zones, they get submerged. So sea water is thrown towards the land. Similarly, sea waves. Sea waves are also one of the reasons that sea water is thrown towards the land. So these are some natural ways by which our sea water intrudes over the land and makes the soil saline. But man-made causes are also existing. Like one of the causes, over extraction of the groundwater. So in the coastal areas, if we over extract the groundwater, what would happen? The groundwater table goes low, goes down, and that leads to now our vacanting, or our pore spaces of the soil became vacant. Now there is a scope in them to enter, and scope in them of entering of the saline water, right? So that level, the groundwater level depletion is one of the reason which make our soil vulnerable to hold the salt. It is one of the cause. Okay. See, this over extraction of the groundwater can also be understood in this way. Like if you are over extracting the groundwater, okay, let me go to this part. Like suppose this is the soil part. So as this water is going up, like see this way, as this water is going up, we are artificially taking it up. So the water is a universal solvent, you should not forget. So water dissolves minerals in it, specifically lighter minerals like calcium, sodium, potassium, silica. These are dissolved into the water. They can be easily carried and deposited into the upper part. So calcium, sodium, potassium, they get deposited. And you know, these bases can combine with the chloride ions to form the salt. So salts can be formed in this way as well. So it occurs naturally in a desert area whereby capillary rise water rise. But if there is excessive sucking of the groundwater table through our tube wells, artificially we bring the salts at the top. This is again a problem in the northern Indian plains. There are too many tube wells into the field which suck the water, and with the water the salts comes to the surface. This is also the one of the natural cause here. Okay. See, rapid urbanization, it is there in the inland areas as well as in the coastal areas. Okay, rapid urbanization and industrialization in coastal areas, that is also true. So our coastal cities like Mumbai, like our nearby coast like Kolkata, Hubli, Diamond Harbor, that entire urban area, that is we called it as a conurbation, a continuation of city. So the Kolkata conurbation is extended up to the coast, right, up to the Diamond Harbor. So this entire area is fastly growing. Similarly, religious towns like Puri, that is at the coastline, so that is also expanding. Our some port areas or famous uh, ports of India like Vishakhapatnam, there, that is also expanding. So due to the excessive urbanization as well as industrialization, the salt is salt content is increasing into the soil. Now you can question how, what is the role with urbanization? Same thing. As urbanization will boost up, definitely the sucking of groundwater table, right, that get boosted up. So again it will trigger the first point. Similarly, industrializations. In industries, many chemicals are used. So by the chemicals and the waste products of the industries could be reached into some salts. So dumping of the industrial waste may lead to the dumping of the salt or addition of the salt into the soil. So that can create a problem. Okay. Similarly, reduced river inflows. So what has I done over here? Like very good example is a Mithi river, Mithi, Mithi river. Mumbai is actually situated on the mouth of this Mithi river. But practically this river is almost lost in Mumbai. So what is done into this river? There is an encroachment over the land, an encroachment over the catchment land of this river. So as now river is lost, so if some water will come into the city of Mumbai, how it will drain into the sea? Earlier this Mithi river takes the water from Mumbai region and drain it into the Arabian Sea. But now you have taken up the rivers, so we can expect that there would be more water logging as compared to the previous situation, and this water logging creates the salt intrusion as well. So that is a reason. Like in Goa also, there are rivers like Mandevi River, Juari River. They are very famous for tidal bore. So when sea water comes, sea water is thrown into the river valley, but river drains it back at a time of low tide, isn't it? But if you choke that river by making dams, so Mandevi is famous for tidal projects. So we have make a dams over the Mandevi. So once the high tide comes, the water get accumulated into the dams. It is not able to go back, isn't it? So that's water is now on the land and it causes the salinization. Okay. Similarly, in the natural cause you can write sea level rise by the climate change. That is also written there. Okay. Land subsidence, that is also a one natural cause. Sometime it happens in the coastal area, land undergoes subsidence due to endogenetic factors. So as land will subside, we can expect seawater can come and rest over the land. Right? So these are the causes here. Now what are the remedial measures? We should regulate the groundwater extraction. Like in Delhi, NCR, there is a ban on ban on taking of this groundwater table. But practically that is not implemented on the ground. That is a different issue. Otherwise, we should have a regulations. Similarly, we have a coastal regulation zone notification of 2017. In coastal regulation zone notification of 2017, we have demarcated our coastline into 4 zones. CRZ zone 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 4, they are highly protected. And in 2 and 3 also, we have regulated the building of hotels or the permanent constructions from our coastline. So these should be implemented in a true spirit at the ground level. So by this way, we can check the artificially dumping of salts into the sea. Similarly, subsurface barriers to prevent seawater intrusion. It seems to be simple one, but on the practical level, it is a very tough task. It is just like making an embankment, a wall-like structure along the coastline. Japan has successfully done it. We have also started it as a pilot project based in Kerala. So we are making a wall nearby the sea. So once the high tide or the sea waves come, they will hit that wall and then not able to enter towards the landward side. It is really a very costly project which require technology of construction. So it does not seems to be practical in near future in India, but definitely it is one of the solutions that can be suggested into your answer. Similarly, we should have a desalinization plants in the coastal areas. Like there is a 100 milliliter of the plant in the Chennai. So what does it mean? We should purify the water. We should take a salt out from the water and then release it on the surface. So through canals or through pipelines that should go to the household. If directly the saline water goes into the canal, that definitely it will do salinization. So there should be desalinization plants. Coastal zone management, I have told you, to balance ecology and the environment. Crop diversification is also one of the way. There are many crops which can neutralize the salt content in the soil, isn't it? So these crops can balance the soil content in the soil. Moreover, we can also neutralize the salt contents by adding some chemicals like gypsum, like some other chemicals which can take the salts and then neutralize the salt level into the soil. So these are the issues. There, now come to the next part, next question that is asked in our paper. Examine the factor responsible for depleting groundwater in India. So partially related with the upper one, as I have told you, the groundwater. So why this groundwater is depleting? So definitely, as we are sucking the groundwater more, so it is depleting. What are the steps taken by the government to mitigate such? So steps are also, if you have some schemes, some pilot projects, they should be mentioned into the answer. So groundwater is a critical resource for Indian agriculture, for drinking, industry supplying. You know that, right? So irrigation, nearby 65% of the irrigation, whatever the irrigation is done in India, that is through the groundwater. 85% of rural drinking. So as you go to the rural areas, there are hardly the pipelines laid down by the government. Still the rural people are dependent upon groundwater, right? So this take the groundwater through wells, tubewells and drink that. But this over extraction and unsustainable use leads to the alarming threat conditions like depletion, even soil salinization. These are the issues. So what are the factors responsible for depletion? Depletion directly. This is a very direct, straightforward question. So factors are, see, you can write again, you can structure it because it is nowhere asked human factors. You can write both natural and the human factors. Natural factors like faulting. If there is a faulting, so we can expect that due to that faulting, a crack that develop and through crack water slips down. Endogenetic factors like tilting of a land. So once Indian plate collide with the Eurasia, what happens? There is a little bit of tilting of Indian landmass along the axis of Aravallis, east and west side. So if this is the Aravalli, the western side of India means Rajasthan, Gujarat side tilted westward, but eastern side tilted rightward. That leads to the drain out of the groundwater table, even oil reserves as well from Indian sedimentary soils. So natural cause could be there. Similarly, subsidence of land. Similarly, climatic factors like excessive heat due to sunspot cycle. So events of the sun can increase the temperature of solar system, even of earth as well. So as the temperature get increased up, we can expect that more evaporation is taking place. Even groundwater also starts rising by capillary action and leads to the depletion. isn't it? So dear, there are many issues which you can include here into the natural factors. Similarly, man-made factors. So one man-made factor is overuse for agriculture, over extraction for the drinking purpose. But you should not forget to write one important point here. What is that important point? Important point is, if you plant some alien trees into your area or ecology, right? Like we call these alien species as a our invasive species or exotic species, which we have take from other countries or other geographical regions. Like very good example is eucalyptus tree. Eucalyptus tree. This tree does not belong to the Indian natural habitat. We have imported this tree from Australia and we have grown it in our soil. So this is a big eucalyptus tree, you know. So that eucalyptus tree, what it do, it suck lot of groundwater table. That's why this eucalyptus is very notoriously or famously for notorious purpose called as ecological desert tree. It is ecological desert tree. That should be mentioned. It is a very important point here. Ecological desert tree, because it suck a lot of water. So if you check, there is a eucalyptus tree nearby. That eucalyptus, other vegetation will not grow because it is sucking lot of water from surface. So it depletes the groundwater table. Dear, even you, if you cut the eucalyptus and dig that area, you will see the soil is slightly moist in the surrounding. Why? Because a lot of water is sucked by the eucalyptus. Now this eucalyptus has colonized the entire landscape of India. Even in high reaches of Himalayas, you will see the eucalyptus tree. Even at coastal regions, even in inland areas, even in Rajasthan, Punjab, humid regions of Northeast India, West Bengal, everywhere you will see the eucalyptus tree. It has spread at a large level in India. It is one of the reasons. So it is a man-made cause, right? So you know who bring this eucalyptus to India? The credit is given to the Tipu Sultan. Because why I'm using the word credit? Credit is a positive notation. Why I'm using it? Because at that time he bring it for some innovation to do the greenery in the Karnataka part. Right, for that he was a very much fond of the trees. Right, he has planted the tree of liberty as well. So he was a very liberal leader, a famous environmentalist of his time. So that was his hobby, to bring the different plants and plant them into the soil. So he may not be unaware about the future consequences. So Tipu Sultan brought it, and now it's colonized over the whole landscape of India. So this is also one of the cause. So overuse for agriculture, overuse for construction, overuse for drinking purpose, right? For industries as well, and by this exotic varieties, the groundwater is depleting in our country. Moreover, one more important point is written over here: recharge rate. So, dear, what does it mean? Soil or nature has its own tendency to recharge the groundwater table, like wetlands. So, very good point over here is the encroachment of wetlands. Wetlands are called as natural recharger of our groundwater table. So, like say that is a wetland part. So, water, if excessive water come, that get run off and get accumulated into the wetlands. Slowly, this water infiltrate down and recharge our groundwater table. So, wetlands, they are very important for the health of ecology. But what we have done, we have encroached this wetland for agriculture purpose. Like Terai belt of India. Very good example is Terai belt of India. Earlier, this belt was extended from Punjab to Assam, a one narrow belt in the south of the Bhabar region, 8 to 50-60 kilometer wide belt along the south side of Shivalik ranges. But farmers of India, they dump the sand into it and fill it with the sand. Now they are doing the agriculture over here. Same problem is faced by the South Indian cities. So every city of India has a lake. Most of cities, you can say, of India has a lake nearby them. But problem is, as urbanization rapidly grows in India, lot of urban waste is produced, sewage waste is produced. They are simply dumped into these lakes. So due to the dumping, our wetlands are now encroached. So that one of the source for the recharge is now gone away. So there is now no one to recharge the groundwater table. We can expect it depletion. Moreover, urbanization is also a cause. How? Because in urban areas there is extra concretization of surface. So extra concretization of surface reduce infiltration and groundwater table is not recharged. So these are some points that you should write. They make a difference in your answers. Climate variability, population pressure, these irrigation demand. These are some simple terms, issues which will be written by every candidate. But by adding these special issues, eucalyptus, wetland, these issues, terai region, you can enhance the quality of your answer. Okay. Government steps which are taken over here. We have a national aquifer mapping and management programs. Similarly, there is the Atal Bhujal Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Kisri Sichai Yojana, micro irrigations we are promoting. So the flooding of the field is the problem. So because for flooding, a lot of water is required. So farmers they take a lot of water and flood the field. But micro irrigation facilities like sprinkler, drip, so they have targetedly supply the water requisite water to the roots of the plant, like in drip irrigation. So definitely the extraction of the underground water will reduce, and we can expect that water level will not deplete further. Rainwater harvesting is also a good point. So that rainwater which finally get run off towards the sea, we can harvest it, like in cities specifically. As there is a concretization of surface, runoff is very high in the cities. But if we have rainwater harvesting and that water is sent into the soil at some place, infiltrated into soil some place, that can help in the recharge of groundwater. Right? So that is the issue. Come to the next question that is asked from ecology part. The question is, mineral resources are fundamental to the country's economy and these are exploited by mining. So up to this part, it has some economic issues, true, because minerals these are the engines of the economic development. That is true. Like some basic minerals, they are very important, like iron and steel. This steel is a basic uh, manufacturing need because other industries are dependent upon it. Metallurgical industries like engineering, aeronautical engineering, all these manufacturing sectors they require electric components. So they are produced by the metal. So metallurgy or metal extraction, these industries are the basic industries which provide raw material to other heavy goods industries or final consumer based industries like automobiles. How you can make your car without use of the iron or steel? So these industries are basic industry. For them, the mineral extraction is required. So minerals forms the foundation for the manufacturing sector. This is true. So up to that part, this is economics. But see that why mining considers an environmental hazard. So as hazard is bringed up, so disaster management or ecology environment part has come into the picture. So question is why mining is considered an environmental hazard. So first you should highlight what is environmental hazard. Those vulnerable situations which increases risk for disasters are hazard, right? So one important point that has to be written over here is derelict land. Now what does it mean? Derelict land topography, geographically. What does it mean? Land abandoned after mining as such. Land abandoned as such after mining. Like you have a open pit mining, like coal, you are digging out the coal from the surface. So earlier this was the surface and there was the coal. So because of the open pit, what you have done? You have dig this surface. So finally, this is now the structure of surface. So without filling this land, you have left it as such. This is called as derelict land. Even in a rat hole mining, like here, you make a narrow tunnel, rat hole mining, and you extract the coal from there. As you have extracted the coal and you left this tunnel as such, derelict land. Such type of topography landform is derelict land topography. So it is a major environmental hazard. Why? because minerals as they are extracted, we can expect that they are rich in some chemicals. These chemicals may undergo the chemical reactions and can form toxic substances. They can form acids, they can form some harmful chemical compounds, and these chemical compounds are now scattered here and there and left on the surface. So they pollute the soil. If they are taken, so water comes, take them away. So water is polluted. Wherever water will go, it will pollute that water body as well. Right? So nearby these lands, we have observed that vegetation also does not grow because it is a polluted area. And moreover, if there is a rainfall, the water undergoes logging into air. So they suffer from water logging. They create vector-borne disease because waterlogged area is vulnerable for the mosquitoes, flies, vectors of disease. So vector-borne disease like malaria, dengue, these can cause a health hazard. So not only environmental hazard, even health hazard, economic hazard, or also the possibility of the land which is left as such after mining. This point, as you have written into your answer, derelict land, it is very, very important, significant point. It enhances the quality. So it is some extra point that examiner will notice into your answer. And then and there, examiner get convinced that you have a very sound preparation. So you will fetch some good marks into the answers if you write such type of the technical points. Because simple points, what issues they will create, like these simple points, like deforestation, soil erosion, degradation, air pollution, water contamination, groundwater depletion, social displacement. So, what did you think? Other candidates will not write these points? No, my dear. Even a school going student can also write. Due to the mining, we can pollute the air, we can pollute the soil get degraded, water get polluted. Even for mining, we have to cut the trees, deforestation. So these simple points can be written by anyone. But your answer would be different if you bring these technical points. Right? So they can cause environmental hazards. Moreover, see, is not thou now this land is highly vulnerable to the landslide? Soil subsidence? Like there is a hollowless, and if there is extra weight rainfall occurs, this land undergoes subsidence. There could be a landslide activities triggered here. In hilly area, like it is a hilly area, you have make a one tunnel over here by rat hole mining or open cast mining. So this gap is make this slope unstable and it is vulnerable to landslide. So it is also a hazard, landslide hazard created into the hilly areas where mining is done. Very good example is last year 2024 or 2023 as well. Regularly for last 2-3 days we have observed many miners get trapped into the mines. Like one was the in Uttarkashi last year in 2024, many miners get trapped over there because landslide, they can trap them into the tunnels. So landslide is a hazard which is triggered here, isn't it? So dear, this is how you can connect it with some technical issues. Now what are the remedial measures which you can suggest that these environmental minings, environmental hazards can be reduced? Like you can suggest some measures, like instead of open cast mining, we should have a scientific minings. Rat hole mining is also dangerous, but if there is a rat hole mining need, we should fill up this tunnel after leaving this site. Moreover, this in open cast mining also, this pit has to be filled up. We called it infilling of land. Infilling of land. This hole should be filled by soil, by some other earth materials, right? And finally, we can reduce the chances of landslides, chances of soil toxicity. So that is one of the way. See other ways, technical ways. Other technical ways is chemical precipitate. Okay, so I am giving you this new point. What does it mean? In this area, analyze what are the pollutants. Like you have identified there are a lot of acidic components over here. Acids are there. So what did you should do? First analyze the pollutants, spread those chemicals into the soil which can neutralize that. This is called as chemical precipitate. Like you have identified there are acids. Now take the bases, throw it into soil. You know, when acid gets reacted with the base, it is a neutralization reaction. What would form? Salt will form plus water will form a neutralization reaction. So you have neutralized the land. So this is dear called as chemical precipitate solution. Spread chemicals which can neutralize the already existing pollutants there. Similarly, we have a bioremediation or biological, simply you can say, remedy. What does it mean? In this area where mining has created a toxic land, you can spread some microbes like bacteria. You should know all bacteria are not harmful, some are beneficial as well. Some good bacteria can be spread into this area. Fungi, some good fungi can be spread into this area, right? So what they will do, they will go and neutralize the pollutants, because bacteria, fungi, they have a potential to do that. Biofilters, we call them biofilters, which can filter the pollutants. Like I am giving you some other examples, a very important part. Like we have water fawn plants which grows in water, cattail, a plant, right? Jatropha. So if you use these plants, if you plant these plants into the polluted area, especially contaminated with water pollution, they have a potential to clean the water. These are biofilters. Dear, there are algae as well. Like one very good example is Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas. It is a algae, green algae. It is green algae. So dear, this green algae has a potential to decompose, decay the waste. That's why we have called it friend of the municipal authorities, or simply it is given a nickname municipal algae. Municipal algae, because it helps municipal authorities to decompose the waste product. So if these algae are spread on a large scale in this land, definitely they will neutralize the pollutants, they clean up the area, and now conditions are favorable for the start of ecology. So ecological succession, what does it mean? The slow growth of the ecology, where higher species replace the weaker species in course of time. So growth of species, so slowly ecology has triggered up, it leads to ecological succession, and ecology is now balancing itself. So these are some extraordinary point here you should write into your answers. So if you will write, your answers are now different from other candidates. So you are ahead of the race, right? Otherwise, simple solutions like you see, simple major solutions like environment impact assessment, land reclamation, afforestation, who will not write them? Even a 10th standard student will also write afforestation. Okay, similarly, pollution control technologies, who will not write it? Everyone will write it. Similarly, sustainable mining practices, what is so technical thing in it? What is so rocket science in it? If the mining itself is a problem, so makes the mining sustainable. That is a solution. So these points should also be written, but in a later stage. In the beginning, you should write these technical points: chemical precipitates, biological remedies, right? Technical remedies, and then you can write these ones: community engagement, rehabilitation, strict environmental protection acts, mine and minerals development and regulation acts. These acts should be implemented in true spirit at a ground level. It will help. Okay. See, write a review on India's climate commitment under Paris Agreement. I have told you when we were, I have always told it to my students when I taught ecology to them. This issue is very important, and it will be important in future as well. So Paris Agreement, a replacement of it has replaced the Kyoto Protocol. So this Paris Agreement of 2015 is still going on, and under this Paris Agreement, one innovation was developed by the UNFCCC COP Conference of Parties of UNFCCC. So these parties has developed one innovation. We called it NDC, Nationally Determined Contribution. Means country will itself determine the target for itself, and voluntary these targets had to be set. So it put a one moral obligation on the country to achieve those targets. Actually, it was the one of the cause for the failure of Kyoto Protocol, previous Kyoto Protocol. In Kyoto Protocol, targets were externally set on the parties. Although different countries joined the different groupings, and a different targets were set for uh, parties which are in under Annex A, 1, Annex 2, non-Annex countries, and least developed countries. Four groupings were in Kyoto Protocol. So different targets were set for them, and external targets create a problem. So parties, they come into collusion with each other, and they find some other way out to achieve the targets. Someone comes out from the Kyoto Protocol because they get agitated that why some high target is set on them. So a novel innovation was introduced in Paris Agreement, replace this external setting of a target from voluntary deciding the targets for themselves. This is called as initially determined contribution. So in Paris Agreement, we have signed that Paris Agreement, and India starts releasing its own NDCs. So in the beginning, we have released our three NDCs, initially determined contribution. But what happened in 2021 conference of Parties 26 of UNFCCC, right? So that was take place in Glasgow. So that actually that word is not written over there, but that was the Glasgow conference. So in that, India joined that party and revised it NDC. So we come out with our 5 targets. We called it as a Panchamrit, right? You can go, you can see these Panchamrit, they are available everywhere. It is a simple issue, every student knows that. Panchamrit, 5 targets. Like one of them was the achieving carbon neutrality by 2070, right? Similarly, creating a 500 gigawatt of clean energy by 2030. So this way. So in this direction, question is asked, in this direction, how has the first NDC contribution intended by India has been updated? So dear, you have to compare the earlier commitments with the now commitment. So in the beginning, we have come out with these 3 targets. So first was 30 to 35% reduction of our greenhouse gas emission by 2030 as compared to 2005 level. But we have revised it, and now the new target is a 45% reduction by 2030 as of our original target. So earlier it was see, compare that 30 to 35, but we have revised it in Panchamrit, now 40%. Similarly, one was increase renewable energy capacity 175 gigawatt by 2020, and it is revised now. So what is it revised? It is where it is, this one, 500 gigawatt by 2030. Okay, see, other one, we committed to increase the carbon sink. How? By planting trees, by afforestation, from 2.5 billion to 3 billion tons by 2030. But in 2030 is not written, but the target year was 2030. So that target is same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that target is actually same over here. Still it is same, 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 by 2030. Moreover, we have some added some extra target like net zero. So India has to become a carbon neutral by 2070. A new thing that was added up. Okay. So these are our targets which were updated. Okay, so this is the one, another one. 50% share of the non-fossil fuel energy by 2030. So this is also added up. So whatever is the energy consumption in 2030, India has committed that 50% of that would come from the clean energy sources. Right? So that is a very simple and a direct question. It is specially taken care in every ecology environment class. So dear, With it, we are now done with the ecology, environment, and the disaster parts of our paper 3. This is all about today's discussion. Thank you.